Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to another episode of our post-game show. I guess we'll call it the Steelers post-game knee-jerk reactions. It's something I've called it before. And this is where we break down everything that happened during the Steelers game that was. And we're in Week 16, just concluded. Actually, the Monday Night Football game against the Raiders and Eagles is going on as we speak. But the Steelers are big winners in Houston, 34-6. It's been a long time. I can't remember the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers the game itself did not actually induce a heart attack within me, but we have my co-host, as always, Lance, on the show. Lance, knee-jerk reactions. What's your reactions for the game?
Foot to ass. I mean, that's pretty much what you should do to a bad team. Put your foot in the ass. So they did that. They got a 2-seed wrapped up. Dilly. I mean, that's pretty much what you do.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the Pittsburgh Steelers are, at the worst, they could be as the number 2 seed, even if they were to somehow lose to the Cleveland Browns next week. I doubt that happens because if the Jets somehow beat the Patriots and the Steelers beat the Browns, they would then claim the top seed in the AFC, and you just never know. The one thing that sticks out in my mind, and we'll stick to Lance, you doing defense and me doing offense, I love today how the Steelers really demonstrated the versatility of their offense. And I understand it looked like they were playing against a JV team. I'm not saying anything about the Houston Texans, but this offense did exactly what they were supposed to do against a team that's just not that good. Ben Roethlisberger was spreading the ball to every one of his options with his Le'Veon Bell out of the backfield. Juju Smith-Schuster had some clutch catches. Martavis Bryant continues to impress with Antonio Brown out of the lineup. Vance McDonald, this guy went from being an idiotic pickup who couldn't catch a cold to a pretty sure-handed receiver that's got some athleticism to him that brings to the tight end position we're not used to seeing. If he can just stay healthy, I think it just adds a new dynamic. One of the surprises, I guess I should say, I thought that the way they spread the ball around was tremendous. They ran the ball well when they had to. Le'Veon Bell's just I'm sorry about that. Le'Veon Bell's just very talented. But at the same time, you have the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers in Stephen Ridley. Now, he's a guy they picked up James Conner. I've had a brain fart there, but James Conner went down. They picked up Stephen Ridley. I was stunned that he was getting reps over top of Fitzgerald Toussaint, so that was kind of surprising. I thought they played a good offensive game. They did exactly what they were supposed to. Good time-consuming drives that ended in touchdowns more than field goals, aided by the defense in terms of the turnovers, the 2 turnovers. Lance, did you have anything to add to the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of the offensive output today?
I mean, whatever they've found in the last several weeks, they continue to do a nice job of mixing both pass and run. They're doing a little better, a little more nuanced. I remember earlier in the year, I made a statement that they would make hamburger out of Kobe beef. Well, now they're making Kobe beef out of Kobe beef. They're doing a good job. My only criticism of the offense right now is first down running. I would like to see them average more yards per carry on first down when they run the football, because you're seeing them get into some situations where they're in some second and long situations, or they're even losing yards on first down runs. I think if they clean that up with AB coming back and with Vance McDonald in the lineup, and I think you hit it on the head, I think he adds an extra dimension, especially in the running game, but he can run that vertical stretch, that vertical seam stuff, and he's a dynamic athlete. He just makes that offense even more dynamic and more fast and more athletic. You put those pieces together, if they run a little bit better on first down, AB come back, and Vance continue to play, this is an offense that, in my opinion, can still get better, and it is absolutely trending up. I don't foresee any reason why this offense won't continue to dial up 28 to 35 points week in, week out.
Absolutely. And when you think about Antonio Brown coming back, even if he's not technically 100%, and all the experts always say, well, no one's 100% at this point in the season. We get it. But if Antonio Brown's even not 100%, the fact that he absolutely does not have to be the main focal point. Juju Smith-Schuster, his route running has impressed me so much. And I want to go back and watch this game again, because some of his routes and some of the ways that he catches the football, as a rookie, hit the over-the-shoulder catch. He had that great third down conversion where, in my opinion, if Martavis Bryant would have blocked his man, really would have probably sprung him for a big play. It's the same type of catch that he had down the middle against Detroit. It's just is so fluid, so seamless. He's a tremendous, tremendous pickup. Now, I want to ask you this question, and I'm going to ask you this now because I feel if we wait until Wednesday for our preview show, the standard is the standard. I'm pretty sure this is already announced. But as of right now, Week 16 just concluded. Who is your Pittsburgh Steelers Rookie of the Year for 2017? I feel it comes down between their first and second round draft picks, but who do you have?
It's absolutely between Watt and Schuster. I'm going to have to say that it's Schuster because of the big plays in the offense, particularly that play against Detroit. You can point to really big plays that he's made. And because they're not rushing Watt as much and they're dropping the linebackers out, Watt's not going to have the individual statistics, in my opinion, to warrant Rookie of the Year. But I think it's still very close. And I think the Steelers are absolutely satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely. So TJ Watt, though, I did write on the injury report after the game today. My goodness, it was a scary play, very scary play. You saw his left knee get caved in there. It didn't look good. Didn't look good at all. But nonetheless, he comes back out, has a pass. He has a pass breakup. Turns out to be fine. Thank goodness. Fingers crossed. But let's go over to the defensive side. The defense held the Houston Texans to 6 points, -1 passing yards for the majority of the first half. But there are some issues. Go ahead and talk about that, Lance.
Well, I think the big thing you see, the injection of Joe Hayden back into that lineup makes the secondary that much better. You can put Joe Hayden on a team's number one wide receiver. So, and number one wide receivers with the physical characteristics of Hopkins and your dominant X guys, they are going to make some plays. But you could see that Hopkins wasn't going to kill him. And I think they'll feel even safer when they play New England again, hopefully, isolating Hayden and Artie Burns on the two outside guys and doubling up Gronkowski more. So he adds more versatility in terms of what they want to do, particularly also how aggressive they want to be in terms of blitzing, because they feel like they have two corners that can hold up on the outside. My biggest issue with them is their run defense. They are giving it up on first down, particularly when teams are running the football. I mean, you don't want to put teams in second and thirds and second and twos. I mean, I'd like them to be able to choke the runoff better. And I think a lot of that is still discipline stuff where the run fits and some of that stuff isn't as crisp or as disciplined as it needs to be. They need to clean that up. I mean, I think the recipe for this team winning a championship is running the football effectively on first down and stopping the football or stopping the running game on first down on the defensive side of football. If they can do those two things consistently in the playoffs, they could win a 7th Lombardi.
Yeah, Joe Hayden is tremendous. And Mike Tomlin said it several times this year that they're still kind of shocked that they picked him up for basically nothing. But what a huge acquisition he was. What a huge player he's been for this team. And you really don't realize how important he is until he misses time and comes back. And you're thinking, man, this is the secondary we were used to seeing when they were the number 2 secondary pass defense in the National Football League. The run defense, though, I know we got to go back and watch it. You and I both do that. They didn't have Javon Hargrave on the field as much this go-around. Their sub-packages, which had Javon Hargrave in there recently, they did not have him in there as much tonight on Christmas Day. That might have something to do with it. But I also think that whoever is playing along Vince Williams, which tonight again was Sean Spence, which that says a lot about Tyler Matakevich, in my opinion, because he's healthy now, at least healthy enough that we feel that he should be playing if he's capable. And they have a guy that was sitting on his couch 3 weeks ago, starting alongside Vince Williams. I don't really feel like the interior from the front and back is communicating well. Like you said, the run fits are bad. Their tackling has been better, but ultimately just really, really poor discipline on the defensive side of the football. I do think it's pretty fantastic that Cam Hayward gets 2 sacks. His total's up to 12. Mike Hilton with 3. That guy just has a knack for coming off the edge. Just a really good defensive performance outside of the fact that they struggled to stop the run. You think about the teams you could possibly be playing in the postseason. You're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tennessee Titans, the LA Chargers. I know for the Baltimore Ravens, they all run the ball very well. That's kind of their bread and butter. So if the Pittsburgh Steelers are smart, they have to figure something out. We didn't get a chance to talk about this, and it kind of ties into it. I want to know what your reactions were when the Steelers released James Harrison this week prior to the game. They had to activate Marcus Gilbert. They chose to release James Harrison. He did clear waivers today, in case you didn't hear. What are your thoughts on him possibly returning and the overall release itself?
Initially, I thought he'd return. I'm not so sure. It's pretty tough to do that to a guy that's meant so much to your organization, to your franchise, to waive him a couple of days before Christmas. I mean, that's pretty tough. I mean, I don't know what the relationship between him and Tomlin are, what's been going on behind the scenes. I know he said some things to the effect of, had I known my role would be this, I would have signed somewhere else. Been in the mix. And for what they're doing with their ends on defense, they're outside linebackers. I'm just calling them ends in this sense. They're playing so much coverage. He's maybe not a fit. I mean, and plus he can be attacked in the passing game. So, I mean, it's tough. I think you do your legends better than that. Do I think he'll come back to the Steelers? I put it at 70-30 before. Now I put it at probably 30-70 that he doesn't. It just feels to me like there's some bad juju. Not to say juju is bad, but there's some bad feelings in the relationship between one Debo, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Mike Tomlin.
And this isn't the first legend, that, if you want to call him that, to have some issues with the end of their career. You look at Troy Polamalu, all reports were he was not ready to hang it up. The Steelers said they were ready to move on, and he was basically kind of said, look, you're either going to go somewhere else, you're going to retire, and he ended up retiring. The relationship's never really been that great since then. Maybe this is the next on a long line of players that are kind of, the Steelers might be burning a few bridges, so to speak, when they leave. But here's the thing I tell fans all the time. As fans, we get emotionally attached to players. Plain and simple, could James Harrison still rush the passer? Yes. But like you just said, they're not asking their ends to you have me calling them ends now. They're not asking their outside linebackers to rush the passer a lot. TJ Watt is more of a coverage linebacker than he is a rusher. And people want to say, well, where are all the sacks? But he's not rushing the passer. Even Bud Dupree on the other side, he has not been given the green light to just pin his ears back and go try to get the quarterback. And it makes them kind of look bad, but they're just doing their responsibility. And instead, what they're doing is freeing up options for players like Cam Hayward to be able to go in and get 12 sacks from an interior defensive lineman, which I still can't imagine. That's incredible. But last thing before we go talk about the defense, today they did something, Lance. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but way back when, before the season, I said 50 sacks. Can this team do it? And you laughed at me.
Oh, brother.
They did it. They did it tonight. They got 50 sacks. Yep, they got 50 sacks.
Jeez.
And they play the Browns next week, man. They could actually break the franchise record. I think it's 55. They could actually break the record if they get more than 5 against Cleveland, which is possible, by the way.
It will be possible. I'm amazed because clearly I think I laughed.
You did laugh. I know you laughed.
I laughed a lot. There's no way I thought they would get 50 sacks. I mean, no way. But I mean, when you're playing the Texans and your slot corner gets 3 sacks, I mean, hey, sacks are sacks. It doesn't depend. It doesn't matter where you get them. Sacks are sacks.
Yeah.
And, they'll have a chance depending on that Jets score, because I would imagine next week they'll play a half and they'll watch the scoreboard. And if the Patriots get out in front of the Jets, they don't care if they, lose to Cleveland or not. They're going to take everybody out at halftime. If that Jets-Patriot game is competitive, or if the Jets are up late in the game, they'll play that game out to try to get the 1 seed. I mean, you should. And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if they do get 6 sacks against Cleveland and go ahead and break the franchise record.
Yeah, they very well could. The Pittsburgh Steelers pass rush has been what Keith Butler has always wanted, a pass rush that can get there with the front four. That way he can put more players into coverage and protect that secondary, which is good to see. Lastly, I want to let you go. I know it's Christmas Day and all, and you've got a family, but did you watch football on Christmas Eve? If you did you watch the Patriots game, and did you see the would-be touchdown by Kelvin Benjamin that was again overruled? Is this at this point in time, are we talking about a Patriots thing, or are we just talking about a review thing?
See, I just put my other face up because of the finger that I just put up in looking at the screen. All I have to say is, come on, man.
Yeah.
NFL, come on, man. Y'all got to get this right. The dude dragged his foot. Come on, man. There was a line in the end zone. Come on, man. Come on. It wasn't as egregious as the Jesse James play, but shit, it was almost as bad. I mean, come on, man. I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, that's a touchdown. They're like, his foot wasn't up.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't. That's why you don't want to go to New England. But I guess it happened in Pittsburgh as well. So maybe you can play them in outer space. Maybe Jupiter is a venue where you may get fair calls.
It's definitely interesting. That touchdown at the end of the half would have really turned the tide in Buffalo's favor. Instead, they have to settle for a field goal. And I know that the Patriots played better in the second half, and I know how the game played out. And I know there's going to be tons of trolls on this video, like there were last week, commenting the stupidest stuff. But still, it just is very suspect, in my opinion, that it's the Patriots. It's suspect that the NFL continues to botch these calls. But if you're a good team like the Steelers, and I feel like they are a good team, they're going to be 13-3. I feel they have a week off. That's huge. The last 2 times the Steelers have had a first-round bye were 2008 and 2010. Both those years they've advanced to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they won it in 08-09, and they lost in 2010, 2011 to the Green Bay Packers. So it's kind of a good omen. It's going to come at a good time. The whole team's going to have an extra week to get healthy. They're going to let I feel like these wild card games in the AFC are going to be one of those knockdown, drag-out matches between teams like Kansas City and Baltimore, and then they're going to have to come to Pittsburgh after that, which is no easy task. So, last question. I know I said that already, but predictions on who the Steelers play in the divisional round. Who you got, Lance?
So so the Patriots got the 1 seed, Steelers got the 2 seed.
We'll assume that's the way it ends. The way it ends.
We're going to assume that Jacksonville has the 3 seed. Yep. Kansas City has the 4.
Yep.
Ravens are the 5.
Yep.
I don't know who's the 6th. So that means
either Tennessee or the Chargers.
So if Jacksonville plays the Chargers, just being able to put it on Jacksonville. I like the Chargers being able to beat Jacksonville with that pass rush, with the veteran quarterback and those weapons. I like them to be able to beat them. And the matchup between Kansas City and Baltimore, I'd have to go with Kansas City. Joe Flacco stinks. I mean, he played well against the Steelers a couple weeks ago, but Joe Flacco stinks. And Flacco on the road is horrible. Dilly, he's horrible. So I'd have to go. That would leave
New England hosting the Chargers.
That would be, Steelers play Kansas City at home.
Yep.
If Steelers go to Foxborough. Part 2, Dilly, let's get it on.
Well, I agree with everything you said, except for the fact I think the Chargers beat the Patriots, because I said the Steelers aren't going to play the Patriots again. I'm going to stick with my prediction.
And I'm watching the Patriots, and that's a vulnerable football team, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they're beatable. I'm telling you, they're beatable. So, with that said, Lance, I appreciate you taking the time on this holiday. Hope you and your family had a great Christmas day. For all the listeners out there, same. We hope you stay safe. And make sure you check out BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. We've got some really good content coming up this week. If you're off work, more time to check out the site. If you're at work, tell the boss to shove off for a few days as you check out some great content. Lance, why don't you send us out? What are your final thoughts?
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for listening to the program. Thank you for your support. Be it Hanukkah, be it Christmas, be it Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, Festivus. Hopefully you brought it in safe and merry and cheery and did all that stuff and ate and fell out and woke up and ate again and watched bad NBA basketball and did all that good stuff today. We just thank you, and we thank you for your we appreciate you guys, and we just thank you for always tuning into the program and giving us your support.
Amen to that. We'll see you on Wednesday for another episode of The Standard is the Standard. Bye.